Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name Hashfi Haula Ramadan. My number student 2024-32071. In this video, I will demonstrate and break down the programming logic of my web programming practicum project. This project is divided into two main parts. First, building a portfolio website and a semester grade calculator using pure HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Second, creating a server-side course data search programming using PHP. Let's start with the front end. Okay. Especially the index.html file. This page is built using semantic HTML tag. I use the NAF tag to wrap the navigator bar at the top and the main tag with a container class to wrap the main content so it stays perfectly centered on the screen. Every block of information is grouped into sections tags. For example, into the hero sections, I use the mandatory image. The mandatory image tag to display my profile picture. Interestingly, I added an on-error attribute here as a preventive measure if the image file fails to load in the browser. The program will automatically hide the broken image and trigger a visual fallback displaying my initial using display style manipulations. In the personal information sections, I include a description of my current study and practical interests, such as network security exploration and hardware project using Arduino microcontroller, making this portfolio relevant to my identity as an system information student. For the skill cards, everything is structured using colored span text. Okay, for the styling, I apply a modular approach. This style.css file handles the global elements. At the very top, I declare CSS custom properties inside the root selector. The goal is to keep the color palette, like the primary teal or dark blue, consistent across all pages and easy to modify from one single place. The navigation bar is made sticky using position. The navigator bar is made sticky using position sticky top 0. So the menu here. So the menu stays at the top of the screen even when the user scrolls down. Finally, I include a media query, media max with 500 px, so that when the site is open on a smartphone, the layout automatically adjusts from a horizontal row to a clean vertical stack. Okay. After that, next we move the second page, the grade calculator. On this HTML site in calculator.html, this form use input type number tag to restrict users to numeric inputs only, complete with min 0 and max 100 attributes. However, HTML restrictions alone are not secure enough, which is why the actual data processing happens in the calculator.js files. Inside the JavaScript file, the first thing I implement is the window onload. Even these functions work in the background to trigger a short welcome banner that is hidden by default using a hidden CSS class. And to adhere to clean the code principle, I separated the logic into three distinct functions. The validation input functions. This retrieves the input value from the form. The logic checks if the input is empty, if it is not a number none, or if the value falls outside the 0 to 100 range. If any rule is violated, it turns an error message. After that, hitung nilai akhir functions. This takes three parameters: assignment, midterm, and final exams. The mathematical calculation happens here, multiplying the input by the instructed weight, 30% for assignment, 30% for the midterm, and 40% for the final exam. And the tentukan grade functions. The contains simple if statement to convert the final numerical score into letter grade A, B, C, D, or E. And all these functions are called when the calculator button is pressed. I use the pure DOM add even listener click method on the button rather than using an on click attribute inside the HTML. When the button is clicked, GS validates the data first. If it's passed, the calculation is executed and the document get element by ID method is used to update the result text on the screen in real time to make it more interactive. I manipulated the CSS class list on the grade element so the box color changed dynamically green for A, red for E, and so on. I also made sure to place console log. Console log comments throughout this process so the raw inputs and final results are recorded in the browser console for debugging purposes. Alright, after that, moving away from the client side in front or front end, the second task was to build a simple backend system using PHP to search for course data. This method PHP file must be run through a local web server like Apache in SAMPP. In the HTML, I create a search from using the post data submission method. Why post? Because the data transmission happens behind the scenes without exposing it in the browser URL. Making it much more secure, the data entered into the text from is captured by PHP using the $post superglobal variable. Wait. Okay. Before the data is processed, the user input needs to be sanitized. Here I use PHP built-in trim functions to remove any accidental white space at the beginning or end of the word, and the strlower functions to convert all characters to lowercase. This combination is crucial to ensure our search is case insensitive. Whether the user types in all caps, lowercase, or a mix of both, the system will still detect it is accurately. And for the logic, I implemented if branching structure that catalogs total of 8 cores from the laboratories. The information retrieval laboratory and the software engineering laboratory. The program match the user's input. For example, if pencarian data warehouse evaluated to true placeholder variable like laboratorium, nama matkul, SKS, and descriptions will be populated with that specific course data, and the ditemukan status is set to true. If none of the egg branch match, the program falls into the final else block and sets the status to ditemukan is false. And after that, We reach the output rendering stage. If the data is found, the echo block will render HTML component using field site and distribute the variable content onto the user screens. Conversely, if it is not found, an error message appears as a basic web security measure against unexpected script injections. I wrap the raw input values prints back to the screen using the HTML special charge protective functions. Okay, thank you. That's my explanation. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.